It's September 18th, 2012. This is Push the Lane. I'm Nick Allen, and I'm joined by a guy who got in a fist fight with a cat and lost, James Reilman.
That cat was brutal. He's been training for months. All sorts of Jeet Kune Do and stuff. Right off the bat, digibet.com, they have a cool new sponsorship with Ocelot. Congratulations to him. Esports betting for LOL. Very exciting. What are your thoughts?
I think it's really awesome. I think it adds a lot of legitimacy to esports. A lot of the passion behind sports is the fact that you can bet on the games. You get really invested in it. You really care about the teams and the results. So with betting, it actually gets people invested, it gets people on board, and it shows the outside world, hey, we're here to stay. You can bet on the games and you can make some money off of it. Of course, there has been some esports problems in the past with match fixing, so hopefully that doesn't happen this time.
Yeah, it is going to be exciting. IG versus Meat Playground, there was already betting on that yesterday when there was the IPL Qualifier finals for Qualifier number 3. My only concern is it a sustainable model? Because in order for sports betting to work, you need a large influx of users. You need a lot of people to be betting on both sides in order for it to even out for them. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen other than, the big Season 2 championships and major tournaments. It's going to kind of struggle. So that should be pretty exciting. Personally, I look at the bets and I'm like, dang, how much money can I take from these guys? But I know that's how they get you. I'm watching. That's what they're waiting for.
Yeah, the other side, of course, esports is kind of young. Not a lot of people with money to spend on gambling. So moving on, Korean regionals coming up. OGN Frost is already qualified through Zubu Frost is qualified through OGN Champions Tournament. And now they're doing this unique King of the Hill style for the Korean regionals. Who do you think is going to win?
I have Najin Sword going all the way. I had them before they had won the previous 2 matches. It is kind of a unique format. They do need to win against both Zenix Storm and Azubu Blaze, but they beat Azubu Blaze 2-0 in the OGN LOL for 3rd place. They don't, do anything particularly exciting. We haven't seen a bunch of new strategies from them, but they do that aggressive pushing style that we've seen in the past. Both teams actually like Graves a lot, Azubu Blaze and Najin Sword, so kind of whoever gets Graves, I think that could have an impact on the match, but I think that their standard play will be able to counter out whatever unique strategies Azubu Blaze brings.
I think Azubu Blaze is definitely going to take this whole thing. They only have to win 1 match. They're at the top of the King of the Hill tournament, and they have the advantage of getting to play against Azubu Frost. So these 2 teams, 2 of the strongest teams of the world, playing against each other constantly, building up that skill, building up new and unique strategies, and just working on their mechanics. And with that, Najin Sword doesn't have the same benefit. And so I really expect Azubu Blaze to come in with some unique strategies and just well practiced. They lost the 3rd place match against Najin Sword and OGN Champions, so I think that was a really big wake-up call for Azubu Blaze, and with that, they're gonna practice up and absolutely dominate in this tournament.
Yeah, I do think they're gonna come out fighting, so it's going to be exciting to watch both of those matches. But next up, blue versus purple imbalances on Summoner's Rift. It's been, kind of thrown around a lot in the past, but Crepo, I believe, made a post recently about, the imbalances. Do you think that Riot needs to maybe make some changes?
Yeah, and it's actually a really good time for those changes too. We're transitioning between Season 2 and Season 3, so this is a time when you can actually make drastic changes to the game and actually kind of get away with it. So I think the big advantage for bot lane on the blue side is that they have those small golems. They can get that early experience and come into lane and hit level 2 really, really early. With champions like Alistar who benefit extremely well off of that early level 2, it's just too much of an advantage. And we see teams like IG who, as soon as they hit level 2, they go full aggressive and they try to power out the lane. So it's a little bit too big of an advantage, and I think it's time for that change to happen.
Yeah, that is a big advantage, but I think for every big blue advantage, there are some purple advantages that you can also take into account and counterplays potentially. So purple can actually come in and steal the blue Wraith in the bot jungle, and they actually go to lane with more experience than when taking the golems. So they're actually a little bit ahead in that situation. They can maybe gank at the golems. Baron play, that is an advantage for blue side. That's a big concern, is that a big advantage there, the fact that they have the vision control, but purple also has that advantage coming into dragon. So I think it kind of goes back and forth. I don't know that it's game breaking. I think the big concern is that it's tied with champ select, and you can't have first pick automatically getting blue. I think it needs to be kind of like the NFL, where you flip a coin, who's got first pick, who's got second pick. Sometimes the second, third pick's better, but then the other team gets to decide what side they're on. So like, okay, well, you wanted second and third pick, we want blue side now.
Okay, changing gears, Curse 1v1 tournament happening right now. I'm already defeated, so that's very...
I'm disappointed. I wanted this to be a back and forth thing where it's like, we see who gets going forward, and I wanted to be able to rub it in when you finally lost, but already in the first round.
Yeah, it's very sad, but of course the winner of this tournament wins $2,000 and a chance to try out for the team. So do you think that's the right approach to this tournament?
I mean, it's really exciting. It's just a kind of big PR boost. They're clearly the winner of the tournament. They're not just going to be like, oh, we're slapping you on the roster. We're giving you a big paycheck. They'll be able to practice with the team some, see if they have chemistry there, and if it does work out, then that's exciting. But it's kind of a far-fetched thing. I love 1v1 tournaments though, and we haven't seen them in a while. But it's really exciting. You can really improve your play by practicing 1v1s. You practice the lane matchups and lane harass and whatnot. Proving Grounds though is a unique map in that it's built for ARAM, and I think it struggles as a 1v1 map. It's very fun, but because of all the HP regen that you have and the long lanes, it actually heavily favors really tanky bruisers. It's a big rock, paper, scissors map, and it's kind of difficult to get around that.
Well, the map is different. I still think it shows a lot of individual skill, learning matchups, learning the lane mechanics, learning the mechanics of that particular map. So I think someone who excels at Proving Grounds can still really excel on Summoner's Rift in the lane. I think it's just a little bit different. But I mean, the matchups are so important in that tournament, in that map, in the 1v1s. So I think still the person who comes out on top is still going to have amazing mechanics and a great knowledge of the game and champions that they're playing against, and just really good understanding of matchups. And those are the key things to be a really strong pro player. So I think the person who comes out on top of this tournament is still going to be prepared and do well in their tryouts for Team Curse.
All right, let's get through the quick rundown. TSM Tournament. I know Buddy, he's behind the camera. He's yelling at us right now. TSM Tournament, Mono Ferris. They picked up the first place win. They looked really impressive. Meat Playground was in third, Dynamic in second. Mono in particular, they've been running that aggressive push strategy that we've seen from both CLG and them, where they run like Jace and Caitlyn and aggressively push down the mid. But they also ran a really cool strategy where they had Cat in the mid, and then they had Varus and Morgana bots. So lots of AoE control, but then the Morgana shield for Cat as well. My big concern with these tournaments is we're seeing a lack of some of the big teams, CLG, Curse, Dignitas, and does that lack of competition between the top teams, is that not preparing them well enough for the Worlds?
Well, I mean, Curse, of course, isn't going to Worlds, so they're definitely sending a message there by not joining in the tournament. There was some drama last week, but Dignitas and CLG, those are two teams that have very interesting strategies and really interesting approaches to the game. So they have a lot to lose by playing in these tournaments. They would show off their strategies. They would show off where they're at in terms of skill going into Worlds. But teams like TSM, who play really standard and who just do the same thing every game, they don't have a lot to hide really. So them playing in the tournament is just more practice for their mechanics and for their standard play. But for CLG and Dignitas, they would have a lot to lose by playing in these tournaments.
Yeah, I understand they could give away some of these strategies, but they could also play standard play. And historically, they haven't been playing a lot of these online tournaments other than like qualifiers. The big concern is it's very stressful as a pro player to recognize you're putting in a lot of practice and you don't exactly know what you're getting out of it. You don't know, all right, am I now good enough to beat the best? Did I practice enough? Do I need to practice more? And without these kind of matchups, you don't have a good way of testing yourself. Also, TSM, like you said, they play very standard play, but as a result of playing that standard play, they don't really try a number of strategies. They're some of the best in the world at adjusting to other strategies, but because they don't have these exciting new strategies to play against, it kind of makes things difficult to prepare for M5 and CLG, those kind of teams.
Well said. Just the last couple news items. IEM China has been canceled, so that's really unfortunate. Yeah. And Meat Playground last night took out IG in the IPL 5 qualifier, so they're coming to IPL 5, so that's exciting too. But that's it for this week, guys. Make sure you add us on Twitter. Let us know what you want us to talk about next week. I'm at Nick Allen, IGN.
At Baroncast, and yeah, Meat Playground, they looked really exciting. Kind of disappointing about the IEM Guangzhou because the previous year it was actually a cool East versus West matchup. CLG, SK Gaming, World Elite, eHome, all these cool teams. So we won't be able to see that. Hopefully everything works out. But that's it, guys. Message us on Twitter, like you said. Give us your topics, what you want us to talk about, what you want us to debate, and we'll see you next time.